go. It is the last show before the SEC opener. He is Zach Blackerby there on the left. I'm Brad Law on the right, but not always right. And we're going to talk Tigers and Aggies before this big showdown in College Station. Zach, the hay's not in the barn, but it's really, really close. What are you thinking now? I mean, as we talk, we're less than 48 hours, or a little more than 48 from the game itself. How you feeling?
I feel better now than I did on Monday, largely because of what we talked about yesterday with all these injuries kind of up in the air. So many question marks about, feels like almost half of Auburn's starters. Are they going to be able to play or not? And the fact they were practicing on Tuesday makes me feel better about all this, specifically Cam Stutz and Tall Miller, that big part of the offensive line there. I think that's certainly something. And also, I just think the more we look into Texas A&M, I think some of the hype and some of the stats that people are clinging to, I don't think tell the full story, which no stat truly does. I'm certainly aware of that. But I do think there's a chance that this Texas A&M team isn't as good as some people think that they are.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think you hear it when you hear the coaches talk, when you hear Hugh Freeze talk about the talent on the team. There's a little caveat to now, whether, as is always the case with talent, it's wonderful. You have to have talent most of the time to have a ticket to the show. And then how you perform. Does that talent live up to its potential? And we'll see. It certainly didn't against Miami. Does it say more about Miami or more about Texas A&M? I think both of these teams have played two games that did not really, truly give them a proper challenge.
Yep.
And they both played one team on the road that did give them a proper challenge. Auburn overcame its challenge. Texas A&M did not. Texas A&M got out to a 10-0 lead in that game. And still, Miami was able to storm back and get a convincing win at home. Now, if Miami and Cal played 3 times on a neutral field, who would win 2 of those 3?
Miami.
Okay. Probably most people would agree with that.
Miami may win all 3 times.
Possibly. Yeah. Possibly. I do like, again, I've said all week long, I think Cal's defense is better than Texas A&M's defense as a complete defense. But, again, the transitive property doesn't work in college football. We all know that. But these teams have all that to say these teams have had really similar starts to the season. 2 no tests, 1 test. Auburn passed its test. Texas A&M didn't. And now we're ready for the big test.
Yeah, but I mean, A&M's test was significantly tougher than Auburn's test, right? Because I think some of the outside factors of the game were tougher for Auburn. The travel, the late kick, the weird environment. But it's not like Texas A&M goes to Miami all the time either. But it was a normal timed football game, and I think that matters. My understanding is, Auburn had to go a day earlier because of like the plane that they charter being booked or something like that. You would know that better than me. And so it seemed like that threw some things off. That was one of the first things Hugh Freeze said, talking to me. He's like, we're not doing that again. We're not going on a Thursday ever again if we have to make this trip, which hopefully they don't have to. But so both were difficult in different ways, but Miami's a way better football team than Cal, I think. Jake Crane came on my show, Locked on Auburn, earlier today, Brad, and something he said really stuck out to me, and I don't know if it's the way he worded it. You kind of hinted at it too, where he said, A&M and Miami's game, that was more about Miami than Texas A&M. And I think he's right. I think you're right. I think Miami's a good football team. I like Tyler Van Dyke, their quarterback. I liked him a lot going into last season, and he didn't really figure it out. Miami kind of, tripped over themselves a lot last year. And the fact that he kind of was able to throw all over Texas A&M, now all of a sudden we feel good about it.
Yeah.
But let's don't act like Texas A&M's defense was shut down against the nobodies either. I mean, I think from an eye test standpoint, Auburn's defense is way better than Texas A&M's. It's also way better statistically too. Yeah. But as far as every kind of metric you want to look at, because everybody wants to talk about Texas A&M's third down defense, well, Auburn's is really good on third down too. So the mismatches that are there are still there, but some of these storylines that have propped up a little bit, I don't think tell the full story. I mean, why is the whole narrative of, okay, A&M came to Auburn last year with the same team, and Auburn had a worse roster, and Auburn was able to beat them. Like, why is that not propped up more? I don't fully understand that one, Brad.
Yeah. No, you're right, and it is the right, and that's a really good point, because this A&M team is a lot more similar to what it was a year ago. They didn't have Devon Achane last year; he was not able to play. I just don't remember if Aniyah Smith was able to go or not. But no, that's a very good point. Now, different team, different year, different scenario.
Sure.
The emotion with which that Auburn team played and the crowd carried with it the entire week leading up to that game last year is a really unique experience. And if you were there for it and you were a part of it and you experienced that, you're going to tell people about it for a really long time. But
Sure.
yeah, this A&M team has dealt with injuries this week as well. Their top two receivers in the first two games did not play against ULM. They have a right tackle that has been injured or was nicked up a little bit in the ULM game. So like Auburn, A&M is dealing with injuries. Like Auburn, I think all those guys are going to gut it out. I think they're going to play because it's the SEC opener, and
So
A&M
important.
needs the game. A&M is going to be motivated because they can't afford a second September loss. They just can't. For the momentum of their season, they cannot afford a second September loss. Auburn's motivation, though, I don't think comes from desperation. A&M will be a desperate team Saturday. I believe Auburn will be motivated, but not out of desperation. I think they're out to prove something. I think they're out to make a statement. I think there's a lot of internal unity and belief in each other on this team. And that's a pretty powerful motivating factor.
Yeah. Yeah. What's more dangerous, a desperate team or a motivated team? And I think we can have several philosophical points and arguments about this, and honestly, we won't know the true answer until Saturday. But I know a desperate man will do crazy things.
Yeah.
And a desperate man when his back's against the wall kind of shows you, like, okay, this is what he can really do. And I don't think Jimbo Fisher is necessarily a bad coach. I think he's an overrated coach. I think he's an overpaid coach, but he's not a bad coach. And I think Auburn's going to get A&M's best on Saturday, as they should.
Here's a couple of notes. This is not stat time. I can't do that as well as you do. Nobody can.
But I think you could. I think you could. I absolutely think you could.
A couple of notes that I researched throughout the week. Texas A&M has gotten out to either a 10-0 or 14-0 lead on all three opponents. Weather the storm early. They have played well out of the gate. Their defense forced a turnover against Miami. It led to a short field for a touchdown, part of their 10-0 early lead in that game. They have started fast this year. A defensive stop early or a turnover early, or you know what, just not losing your poise if they go down the field and score first is going to be really critical, I think, in this game, just to understand their identity has been a quick scoring team. You got to weather that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. And I said this earlier in the week, but if Auburn could jump out on A&M and they go up 10-0, that fan base in College Station, it could turn on Jimbo. Like, it could happen.
Yeah.
This is a fan base that is ready to implode on this football program.
I think you're right about that. Another thing to watch, they are an aggressive defense. Can you use that against them? I remember 2019 when Auburn went into College Station and Gus called the Anthony Schwartz the flash reverse on the third play of the game. It was brilliant because it was an over-pursuing, aggressive defense. And by the time Flash got out to that left side, there was too much open space.
Yeah, you're not going to catch him. Right.
Shamar Turner has had a sack in each of the first three games this year. Number 5, defensive end. You got to know where he is on the field. And the offense is going in with that in mind as well. And I think you use their aggressiveness against them. You either run right at them or you're running misdirection reverses, some drop back called quarterback runs. It's a cat and mouse game, but you have to know where number 5 is on the field and use his aggressiveness against him.
That's right. That's right.
The last note that I had here.
Okay.
Texas A&M has picked up 81 first downs this year. 11 of those have come better than like 12, 13%, have come by the opponent committing a penalty. Road game, heat, sound, everything working against you. Got to be poised. You cannot let A&M off the field on 3rd and long because of a penalty. You can't jump on 3rd and 1 offensively and turn it into 3rd and 6. The penalty number needs to stay low for Auburn. Texas A&M opponents have been penalized more than any other SEC team's opponents this year. I have no idea. I have no idea what goes into that, but and don't begin to know. But Auburn being able to keep that penalty number down is going to be, I think, very critical in this game.
I think that's great. I think that's good stuff. I think you could totally rock a stat time. You may have just taken that segment from me. Who knows? No, we've got a new segment. Yeah. Brad, we've got a new segment. We've got a new segment thanks to our friends at Exit Realty. Buy Sell is the new segment, serving the Auburn area with locations in Auburn, Lake Martin, and Fort Walton Beach, Florida. From Auburn, Lake Martin to the Emerald Coast of Florida, contact our friend Ross Kilpatrick with Exit Realty, Anchor South, for all of your real estate needs. Of course, War Eagle to Ross. You can call Ross at 334-402-0028. All right, Brad, buy or sell the following. Okay. Auburn scores 30 points on Texas A&M this Saturday.
Boy. That's a really good number. A really good number. I don't like A&M being able to get 30 plus on the Auburn defense. I don't know. I think the game will be played and won in the 20s, so I will sell Auburn getting 30.
Okay. All right. Buy or sell. Jay Fair has 7 catches on Saturday.
I will sell that also because I think the A&M defense is going to key on Jay. I do love his ability to get open. He runs awesome routes, has great ball skills. We know his ability, and he has been targeted 20 times over the first 3 games. That's a little less than 7. I think you see more fair weather, and I think they key on fair, and so I will sell. So I'm 2 for 2 on selling.
So I agreed with you on the 30 points. I'm going to buy Jay Fair having 7 catches. I'm buying that. Buy or sell, Brad. Auburn has 3 sacks on Saturday.
I will buy that. Yeah, I'll buy that because I think pressure's coming. I don't think you saw as much pressure in the Samford game because you didn't have the bodies, number one. You wanted to protect the young guys on the back end, and you just didn't need it. And the style of offense Samford was running, they'll get the ball out quick. I think Wegman wants to do more drop-back passing. They're a team that passes the ball more than they run it. Those attempts have only gone up game after game. I think Jalen McLeod is closer to 100%. And I think between him and the exotic pressures coming, I think they're able to get there. A&M has given up 5 sacks through 3 games. They've given up 15 tackles for loss. Yep, I'll buy 3 sacks.
Okay.
What about you?
I think I'm selling that.
Okay.
I think I'm selling that. I think the pass rush will impact Wegman. I don't know if they get home 3 times.
Okay.
I will say I think if Auburn sacks Wegman 3 times, they win. I will say that. I think that's important.
Can make a difference.
All right, buy or sell. Auburn has no turnovers on Saturday.
I'll sell until I see it. They've given it away 7 times this year. And I want to see a 0. I would love to see it. Would be nice. But A&M has forced, I think A&M is -1 in turnover margin. They haven't given it away much. They haven't taken it away that much. But until Auburn plays a clean game from a turnover perspective, I've got to sell.
Okay. And then last one, buy or sell. Peyton Thorne has more total yards than Connor Wegman on Saturday.
That's tough.
Because I think Wegman will have more passing yards.
Yeah.
But now I'm a believer in Peyton's legs. So buy or sell that.
I am too, but it's hard for me to see. Like, he had 17 rushing yards in the first 2 games combined. So it's tough for me to think he'll make up the difference. I do think Auburn's running game will be balanced enough, and you'll see more from the backs in the ground game than you did against Samford, because I think A&M can't just sell out to stop the run. Yeah. Auburn's proven that you can win one-on-one matchups in the receiving room. So, no, I think Wegman will have more. I will sell Peyton Thorne having more total yards.
Okay, I'm with you. I will sell that as well. I do feel better about his rushing attack or rushing ability than you do, I think, on Saturday, but we'll see.
Well, I do think now that I do think that Auburn will. Well, I think it would make sense for Auburn to call some design runs for him out of the gate. So just like the short passes, that gets the quarterback going, gets you into a rhythm.
I love that. Yep.
Let the nerves fly, let them go, and let's get out. Now you take a hit. Now you do something with your legs. Now you complete a pass. Now you're off and rolling. So I do think you'll see him use his legs early in the game.
Yep. All right. That was our first ever edition of Buy or Sell, serving the Auburn area with locations at Auburn, Lake Martin, Fort Walton Beach, Florida. From Auburn to Lake Martin to the Emerald Coast of Florida, contact Ross Kilpatrick with Exit Realty Anchor South for all of your real estate needs. War Eagle, call Ross at 334-402-0028.
Shout out to Ross, friend of the show, and looking forward to seeing what we can do with him down the road.
Absolutely.
All right, it's time for our Village Vice six-pack, Zach.
Let's go.
Now, we're going to pick games. We're just going to do it straight up because, I mean, we're not professionals here. Not at this thing anyway. You know who is professional about it though? That's our friends. Yeah, our friends at MyBookie. As a bettor, there's no room for error. You demand perfection, and MyBookie delivers NFL, college football, plus that brand new cash out system that gives you options to bet and win all season long. If your first two legs of your parlay hit, you could cash out early, or you can use the funds on another bet if you'd like after you cash out, or you can just let it ride and take the chance at a bigger payday. Join the MyBookie family for an entire season. And, it'll be a season filled with odds boosts, free bets, and really super contests. This season has MyBookie a no strings attached cash bonus. Lets you deposit and withdraw quick. Just use the promo code next round. Promo code next round on a deposit and get some extra cash instantly deposited into your MyBookie account. Bet your deposit amount once, and then you're ready to cash out at any time. Again, that's promo code next round to claim your cash deposit bonus. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
Time for a little six-pack action.
Yeah, a little Village Vice six-pack. It is a final show before game day tradition now, and we're going to go chronologically until we get to the Auburn Texas A&M game. All right, you ready?
All right, I'm ready. Let's roll.
Number 4, Florida State is at Clemson at 11 o'clock Saturday morning, Central time, all time Central.
Okay.
Florida State's a 2.5-point favorite on the road. Did you leave Clemson by the side of the road? Are you all in on the Seminole train? That line looks awfully small.
Yeah, I like Florida State in this one. I think they're explosive. I think this is a team that's going to show up for big games. I mean, we saw that against LSU to start the season. I think that's who this team is. And I also think they know if they win on Saturday, they're probably going to win the conference and have a good chance of making the college football playoff. So I will go with Florida State. It's bigger for them, I think, than Clemson, just because I think Clemson's going to trip over itself some other point in the season.
All right. I like that. I want to find games where I don't agree with you, just because that's more fun.
Well, we're both just so intelligent.
Well, there's no question.
Except you did pick Arkansas. That was bad. That was bad on you.
Did I really? Yeah, you're right. You're right. Look,
I think you picked Mississippi State too over LSU.
I have to be wrong every now and then, Zach, just to remember what it feels like. Okay. Sometimes I'm wrong intentionally, just to remember what it feels like.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
I'll go Florida State on this one as well.
Okay.
2:30, Tuscaloosa. Alabama's a 7-point favorite at home against Ole Miss in a top 15 matchup. When's the last time Alabama lost 2 September games?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I would bet it's like 04, 03.
Yeah.
Back then somewhere. Because the 05 team was very good, and I don't think 06 lost in September. In the Saban's first year there, they won like the first month and a half.
Yeah.
So
this one's so tricky to me because everything you look at, it screams Ole Miss. But I don't know. I'm not ready to pick as if Alabama's not a great team. I'm just not there yet. So I'm gonna take Alabama.
Okay.
I think 7. If we were betting the line, I probably would pick Ole Miss.
If Alabama wins, it's going to be because of the defense. And now you could take that and apply that to every game on their schedule for the rest of the year. And their defense is very, very good. And I should be diplomatic and take Alabama in the game. But I think they have problems over there. And I think Ole Miss is going to go in and further expose some of the issues.
Wow.
And I think Ole Miss is going to win the game, and it'll be the first time in almost 20 years that Alabama has 2 September losses. I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to incite. That's legitimately what I think is going to happen.
That'd be great.
All right.
I hope it happens.
That'd be great. How about Mississippi State at South Carolina at 6:30? South Carolina 6.5 point favorite. I'll go ahead and go. I'm going Gamecocks on this. I think Mississippi State played with confidence until they got absolutely shoved around by LSU.
They both looked so bad last week.
Yeah. Well,
but South Carolina had a good half. Yeah, I'll go Gamecocks too, just because I don't think I'm going to ever pick Mississippi State this year.
Okay. Sandwich between 2 top.
But you did pick Mississippi State last week.
I do. And let me tell you, Zach, I appreciate you reminding me of that as often as possible.
I think accountability is important, Brad.
It is. Yes. Accountability. It'll keep me humble. And
that's right.
Keep that feeling fresh. I appreciate that.
That's right. You also picked Arkansas. Go ahead.
Number 6, Ohio State. Number 9, Notre Dame. Ohio State, a 3-point favorite on the road.
Yeah, I've actually got Ohio State even minus the points and some stuff outside of here. So, yeah, I'm taking the Buckeyes.
Ooh.
I'm also in Columbus, Ohio right now.
I was going to say, is it because you spent the last few days in Columbus?
Yeah, the energy's high up here. The energy's good up here in Ohio. So, yeah, absolutely.
Notre Dame wins this game by 10 or more points.
Wow. I feel even better about my pick now.
Sam Hartman has been dynamic. I understand they played one, real challenging game to this point, but I like their offense better than I liked it last year. I think they're talented. I think they've got the quarterback. They've got tight end play that's going to be dynamic in this game. I like Notre Dame big at home. So there we differ on that. Perfect. How about our old friend Gus Malzahn and UCF going back to Manhattan, Kansas, where he took the 2014 Auburn Tigers? UCF, K-State, 7 o'clock. K-State, big, bad, powerful K-State, 4.5 point favorite. That's it at home.
Yeah, I mean, when you lose to Missouri, it kind of shakes your psyche, I think.
Yeah. Can they bounce back from that against
Yeah, I think they can. I think they can. I'm going K-State here. I love Gus. I hope Gus wins. There's actually a bowl projection that had Auburn and UCF playing in a bowl game this year. How crazy would that be? But I'll take Kansas State.
All right. I think Gus has won once over there, and they'll score more than 20 points this time. And I think we disagree again. I'm going to give Gus – and this is just – I'm not even close to picking logically on this one. I think it's a hangover. I think Missouri beats Kansas State twice, and UCF goes in there and pulls the upset.
So we differ on 3. We differ on UCF, K-State. We differ on Ole Miss and Alabama.
Yep.
And we differ on Ohio State, Notre Dame. This will be fun.
Correct. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. For one of us, it'll be a lot of fun next week.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure it'll be me. So that's good.
How about Auburn? As sure as you were the Patriots, you're going to beat the Dolphins. All right.
Dang.
Auburn and Texas A&M college. I hated to do you dirty that way. Right.
Yeah, that one hurt. That one hurt more for sure. With some emotional investment in that one. Good for you, Ryan Brown. Good for you.
Look, for the rematch, why don't you guys bet? I know this one's in Miami, but the loser has to do shows the whole next week in the winner's jersey.
Yeah, I mean, I was ready to do. He's the one who wouldn't take the bet. Yeah. I tried. He wouldn't take the bet.
You're right. Okay.
He backed down. And I think that's on him, and I think that's something that he's going to have to deal with. But that's okay. I think Texas A&M wins on Saturday.
Okay.
Are you allowed to pick this game?
Oh yeah, I am. I absolutely am. And partially because I think Auburn's going to win the game.
Do it. Let's go.
I think the passing offense is there.
Let's go.
I think you see a ton of Rivaldo Fairweather. I think you see some concepts in the running game that have been held back. This is not inside info. This is just what I think. And I think you're going to see Cam Stutz, and I think you're going to see Jeremiah Wright. I think you're going to see those guys really pave the way for the running game. And I think that'll set up the passing game. And I think big plays are to be made. This Texas A&M, 2 of the 5 touchdowns they gave up against Miami were 50-plus yard passing plays. So explosive plays are there. Explosive plays kill the home crowd, and they boost the road team's confidence. And I think you see that. And I think Auburn wins a game where both teams score in the 20s, and the Tigers come back a winner in conference play.
I hope you're correct. I hope you're right. I hope I'm right on all the other ones we disagree on, but I hope you're right on that one. So, Brad, I think that about does it. We'll talk again next week.
It does. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Remember, everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.